I'm your host, Davida Shinsky, and you're listening to Live Without Limits Dreams Come True with the Right Mindset. And today's presentation is Release Your Guilt 8 Practical Ways to Stop Feeling Bad. Whether we've hurt someone's feelings or made a major mistake, feeling guilty usually means we feel responsible for something going wrong. Yet, this isn't the only reason that guilt happens. Sometimes we experience a guilt complex when our life is going great, but the people we care about are struggling. Guilt may also arise from mental health disorders such as anxiety or obsessive compulsive disorder. And guilt is one of those feelings that can take and be tricky to navigate or figure out. You might wonder whether or not you should feel guilty amongst other things. And this doesn't mean guilt isn't helpful. Guilt can often direct us to take responsibility and make amends for the error of our ways. However, persistent guilt isn't healthy. It can also become mixed with shame, including feeling ashamed of who we are. So let's dig into this and help you get out of the rut of guilt and shame. However, you can let go of feeling guilty. Emotional signs of guilt. Let's start with the basics, including a little guilt definition. What does guilt actually mean? The Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines guilt as feeling of deserving blame, especially for imagined offenses or from a sense of inadequacy and the state of who has committed an offense, especially consciously. Emotional signs of guilt include being sensitive to the consequences of your actions, feeling overwhelmed by the idea or thought of making the law wrong, or rather, let's say that again, feeling overwhelmed by the idea or thought of making the wrong decision or taking the wrong action, low self esteem or low self confidence, avoiding other actions or emotions, people pleasing, putting others before you, even if it's detrimental to yourself. If this sounds familiar, then keep on listening. Letting go of past mistakes and guilt. Feeling guilty isn't a good feeling. I think we can all agree on that. It feels bad. You feel bad. The whole situation just feels pretty bad. And it can kind of haunt you when you don't do anything about it or when you don't actively try to change your perspective or make amends. Years later, your thoughts might come back to it and you can feel that shame deep in the pit of your stomach. Oh, it isn't ideal, but we've got a good news for you. You can totally let go of this feeling. You are completely in control here. So, how do you release yourself from guilt? There are a few factors here, and they all involve taking action or flipping your perspective. Yes, that's easier said than done. So, we will go over 8 ways that you can begin letting go of feeling guilty. So, how to stop feeling bad about something that you did. So, let's really dig into this. What can you do to start moving on? How can you stop feeling guilty once and for all. You may use one of the following or combine a bunch of the following to help you overcome your guilt for whatever reason you might be feeling it. Accept it. Take responsibility for how you feel. Sure, your mom might have made a comment that led you to feel guilty, but own your own feelings. This takes back your power and takes it away from anyone else. It allows you to control how you feel rather than letting others control that. And with responsibility, you might need to accept your feelings. This is really hard to do. In some tough situations, it might even take some hard work, including therapy, to get through. Generally, accepting your feelings come down to acknowledging the thoughts and circumstances that led you to feel them. From there, you can take responsibility and start moving past it. Make amendments if needed. If you're wronged someone, extend that olive branch. Guilt has a positive side, and this is where it lets us know when we've potentially behaved morally wrong. We're not living up to our own values. We aren't treating others how we want to be treated. This is where guilt can rear its ugly head and tap you on the shoulder, letting you know that you need to do something different. Plus, we all make mistakes. When you happen to be on the mistake making side of things, it always helps to apologize and ask for forgiveness. This might mean making your partner's favorite dinner, especially if acts of service is their love language. Or it might mean preparing a heartfelt apology and crawling over to your best friend's house with a bottle of wine and pizza in hand to deliver it. Each situation may need a unique and different approach. Explore what you can do to make it up to the person that you've wronged. Make it right. Do something that makes you feel good about yourself. Feeling lousy about ourselves sucks, and guilt tends to knock our ego and our self esteem down a notch or two. So, if you're still feeling down in the ditch, do something to make yourself feel good. Go for a run, head to the gym, or do a light yoga session. Maybe order your favorite food this evening or do that hobby that you love. Even a warm bath or any self care activity might help. The goal here is to feel better. Forgive yourself and practice self compassion. So you missed so you messed up. What do you think we all do? Beating yourself up isn't going to get you anywhere. Instead, talk nicely to yourself. What would you say to your best friend? Say that to yourself. Self compassion and self forgiveness can go a long way. Well, you shouldn't totally let yourself off the hook for bad behavior. You also shouldn't let it wreck your life or your confidence. Mistakes are part of life. It happened. Accept that. Let it go. and move on. Turn your focus to the positive and good parts of your life. While you're working on forgiving yourself, try to steer your focus towards the good parts of your life. Practice gratitude because this is really easy to do. Grab a pen and paper, then write down 5 to 10 things that you're grateful for in your life and truly feel that feeling of appreciation. It doesn't work unless you do your part. Learn from it. This is one of the best things that you can do to take away from messing up. What is the lesson here? What did you need to learn? When you find that and unravel what you do differently next time, life gets that much better. After all, we all trip and fall, but it's how you pick yourself up, and that's what matters the most. Name your guilt. Maybe you're not entirely sure where these feelings of guilt are coming from. It's time to sit down and, and self reflect. Leave guilt unaddressed and ignored can actually amplify it, which isn't helpful. So start by writing down what happened. When did these feelings arise? What was the situation that unfolded? Who said what? And how did you feel? Let yourself feel angry and sad if you need to feel it. Allow yourself to feel whatever emotions come. This can help you to untangle it. Then just sit with these feelings for a bit. It's okay to feel sad or angry or frustrated. Don't judge yourself. Rather, allow yourself to feel what you need so that you can truly get to the bottom of why you're feeling this way. From there, you can actually come up with useful strategies to help you move forward. Explore the root cause. This might go hand in hand with naming your guilt. At the same time, as previously mentioned, guilt can be good or bad. Some common causes of guilt include surviving a traumatic accident, disaster, or event, experiencing conflict between choices that you made and your values, mental health or physical illness, having thoughts or desires that you think you shouldn't, looking after yourself when you think you should be looking after others. This is really common in individuals who strive to please others. Undeniably, there are many other causes of guilt. Finding your way can help you overcome it. In some situations, talking to a therapist may also prove helpful. Guilt doesn't have to haunt you. Author Anne Rand famously stated, "The worst guilt is to accept the unearned guilt." This is why finding the cause of your guilty feelings is of the utmost importance. Sometimes guilt is helpful, sometimes it's not. Either way, you can always move past it. Now, the last thing that I'm going to say about guilt is this, that often parents will try to make you feel guilty because they want to control your thoughts. There's a difference in the different types of guilt and understanding them and how to build on them helps you as an individual understand when it's guilt that you have to overcome and when it's guilt that's put on you by someone else.